Happy MoviePass Wednesday. I realize I've never done a MoviePass Wednesday, and I warned you yesterday that if you saw me again this week, it's probably pretty bad news. The good news is that it's bad news, but not horrific, catastrophic news that MoviePass has put out. So let's dive right in. MoviePass, as we know, had a rough weekend. The service was out in most theaters because they did not have money to pay one of their creditors. So they took money at a ridiculous rate. They agreed to borrow $5 million, and they had to pay $3.1 million of that today on Wednesday. Another $3.1 million, so it was like $1.2 million in interest, I guess, within the next 9 days, 4 days from now. So ridiculous terms, but so they made this announcement yesterday, ideally to probably facilitate the next creditor they need. So they're going from one loan shark to another to pay back the first loan shark, to pay back the gambling debt, which in MoviePass is its business model. That's the gambling debt. And they want to do this before they get, have to give up, break a kneecap or something. So let's go over what MoviePass announced yesterday, because they announced two things. One is they put out a press release saying this is like their profitability, path to profitability press release. That came out. And then they sent out a letter to subscribers, which had another bombshell in there. But let's go right from the very beginning, from the first press release, which was their plan. The very first point in that is that MoviePass, at some point in the next 30 days, or in the next 29 days, since I guess it happened on Tuesday, so at some point in August, will go to $14.95. So this is a 50% increase from $9.95. And while that may seem like, whoa, clearly we all knew that $9.95 was not sustainable. And again, this will obviously only kick into people on the monthly plan after, or the quarterly plan, or the annual plan, the next time their billing cycle comes up after the announcement. There's no proactive, they're going to charge you or anything. So if it happens on August 15th and you paid on August 7th, you will not have to worry about this until September 7th if you're a monthly payment for the new rate. The same thing goes for the quarterly people or the annual people. This is the new normal for whenever they announce it from that point on. Unless they grandfather people in, such as Netflix has done stuff like this, that they'll grandfather in people for like a year or 2 years when they increase their rates. I don't think we'll be grandfathered in. I think it's going to be something that'll be universal, and it'll be like, all right, everyone's going to happen because they need this. They're losing a lot of money. So that they say it's going to happen in the next 30 days. But keep in mind that MoviePass has said a lot of things are going to happen by this month or by the end of this week or whatever, and they don't materialize. One of them being, the most recent one being the whole family plan and the premium movie subscription plan that they were going to roll out. So it doesn't mean it's going to happen in 30 days, but obviously the news is out there. Why would it not? The only example I could think of it not happening in the next 30 days is if their subscriber rate goes from 3 million to 1.3 million as it is now to possibly 2 million in the next couple of weeks, which is quite possible given all the changes that they've just announced. But I think, so if it gets down, they're down like 2 million, they're going to say, let's hold off on this so we don't lose too many more subscribers. But maybe right now it's already out there. I imagine the cancellations are probably going through the roof this week since the outage over the weekend. Poorly communicated outage, and they've admitted that they want to be more transparent in the future. We'll see how that plays out. So there's that aspect of it. The other element of the thing beyond the $14.95 plan is that first-run movies opening on 1,000 screens or more may be limited to not being available at all through the first 2 weeks, the first 2 weekends. So the first 2 weeks, actually. So right now we're seeing Mission Impossible Fallout is not available, has not been available since it opened. And this could be the first, it could be a trial balloon, it could be the thing, this is the new normal with this. I'm calling it cruise control because you can't see the Tom Cruise movie, but beyond this cruise control move, it could happen to other movies. And of course we have a couple movies coming, not a lot of major blockbusters coming this late in the summer season, but enough that they will probably be already saying, all right, you can't watch this for 2 weeks. Now, if this sounds familiar to you and you're a subscriber to my channel and you've been watching my old videos, I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. Mitch Lowe, the CEO of MoviePass, sort of had this happen at Netflix, the first company he was at, after he was long gone from Netflix. But Netflix did have an issue where movie studios said, all right, if you want, we're going to charge you ridiculous rates because they have to pay for, when Netflix was a DVD service, primarily a DVD service, they had to pay more than retail for their DVD. They couldn't just go to a store and buy it. They had to buy them through, directly from the company, and they were charged a lot more than what you were charged to buy it at home. And basically, some studios came up to Netflix and said, all right, if you hold back on these new releases for 28 days, for 4 weeks, we will give you a ton of copies at a discount, sharp discount. The studio's thinking is that, hey, we can give you this DVD so that it doesn't interfere with the home release, so people that really want to see a movie will pay out of their pocket to buy the movie, the DVD. This is the same thing, and it happened to Coinstar, which is where Mitch Lowe also went on to cut his teeth. So you have a case where this is a thinking which already existed in Mitch Lowe's mind as he's watching Netflix and went one day through, which is why I suggested that it was probably going to happen. So I hope no one hates me and thinks, oh, Moon Pies, you're the reason why they did this. No, it was just, I just connected the dots 2 weeks before MoviePass publicly did it, that this plan would be rolling out. And again, it's terrible if you want to see a movie that just came out, but it's a great way for them to limit how many movies you see, which is all part of the plan. If you can't see a movie when it comes out, you're going to have to pay for it or buy a ticket to another movie and then sneak into this one. But, don't do that because that is technically illegal and, black hat. But whatever happens, it is something that will happen. Make the experience worse for you, but obviously you can just pay for it the first time, and then 2 weeks later, when the movie's available on MoviePass, say, oh, I want to see it again. So you get to see repeat viewings, but you have to pay for the first one, as opposed to the old days where you probably got the ticket to Marvel Avengers, Infinity War, but then paid for it the second time around. Just flip the process, I guess. So there's that. And these two things are probably going to be deal breakers for most people. If I can't see a movie the first 2 weeks it comes out, so if a friend calls, hey, let's go see a movie, let's go see this, goes, oh no, can we wait 2 weeks? Especially a movie with a lot of spoilers or a lot of hype. It's going to be a deal breaker for a lot of MoviePass subscribers. $14.95, probably not so much because it's realistic, but telling people they can't go to movies, that's going to be a bit of a dagger. And they also said that they're going to be implementing additional tactics to prevent abuse of MoviePass service, whatever that may be. More stuff than just taking photos of your stubs and other things and verifying that it's this movie you're actually buying. They predict as of this quarter, the third quarter, which is actually from July to September, we're right now a third of the way into the new quarter, that this will add $4 to $6 per person in non-subscriber revenue. And that's just their way to appeal to to investors, saying, oh, this is a feasible model beyond just this low $14.95 subscription. But if you add it up, $4 to $6, most people are paying more than that in a single surge viewing. So it's quite possible that a lot of people are paying a lot more than $4 to $6 over the course of these next 3 months over their plan. So it ultimately comes down to the fact that the service itself is becoming priced almost like the AMC Stubs A-List Premiere, a plan that has a lot less restrictions and a lot more convenience, but limited to just 3 movies a week as opposed to 7 movies, potentially 7 movies a week. But let's move on from that because then we get to a letter that they sent out to their members later on Tuesday afternoon after all that happened, after their stock got rocked and initially lifted higher on this news, then it tanked to close the day lower. But then we got the letter to members, and this is the exact passage that I think you need to worry about more than even the $14.95, more than possibly even limiting movies to 2 people. Here it is. Showtimes that are offered through our service will vary from day to day, and every showtime may not be available. We encourage you to check the MoviePass app for showtimes before you leave for the theater, which is actually their way of saying it's not just a matter of us blocking certain movies, it's that we may block certain times that the movie's out, which again, if you may think, well, is it just going to be the nighttime viewings because that's when they're more expensive? Are they going to limit it to matinees? We don't know, but this is another unknown, a grab bag in a poop diaper of what is happening in MoviePass, where you're going to be paying more. You're going to be paying 50% more for the plan. You're not going to be able to see new movies, at least hot new movies, in the next 2 weeks, unless these studios negotiate with MoviePass. And that's, I think, what MoviePass is hoping for, that studios will say, hey, MoviePass, we don't want you to block, Daddy's Home 8 from coming to theaters. Can you, we'll strike a deal. We'll give you a little bit of, big piece of the action if you make this a new movie that everyone can see right away, so we get hot opening weekend numbers. And I think that's going to be an interesting thing, because if you see a lot of new releases come in with lower opening weekend numbers or opening 2 weekend numbers, a lot of people are going to be saying, hey, it's because of MoviePass. And the MoviePass will actually have the clout that it always wanted to have. But in a sense, they're toying with us as subscribers as guinea pigs in this game where we want the respect of the studios, of the movie theaters, so we're going to toy with the subscribers. We're getting little experiments done on us, which is not cool. But it's also part of the fact that the company needs to stay viable. But between the rising prices, which we knew was going to happen, limiting movies for 2 weeks, new releases, hot new releases, not the small indie ones, but the larger releases, which I had made a video specifically about that. So it's not something that surprises me, but it's going to shock and upset a lot of people out there. And 3, limiting some of the actual showtimes to movies. So even if a movie is available, it may only be available 2 or 3 of the 5 screenings it is. It is going to limit how many movies you see a month. How many times you go, well, I guess I got to pay for this out of pocket. And by paying out of pocket, maybe you do come to realize that, hey, MoviePass is a pretty good deal. If I'm paying $13 for this movie and it's only $15 for a month of MoviePass, I'm not going to cancel MoviePass. But it's also going to make it more infuriating to be a MoviePass subscriber as we jump through all these hoops, through the surge pricing, which already has angered people over the last month, to now that some showtimes will not be available, and you'll have to check your app, so it's not even a set science to it, which I think is always the thing that's always bothered me about surge pricing and stuff like that, is that you really don't know until the actual day when you check and you see the lightning bolt. Like people like to pre-plan. So again, the changes are not fun for subscribers, but they may be what it takes to keep MoviePass in business. But again, if they get a lot of cancellations over the next few days, if they don't get another creditor to pay off the last creditor, this service is probably toast. So pardon the cough, but it's a death cough, I guess. So keep in mind that obviously I want MoviePass to succeed, and obviously I want the series to keep going. And I want you to subscribe, because no matter what happens to MoviePass, I'm going to have some interesting movie subscription and movie tech news to follow. So please subscribe, no matter where you fall, if you've canceled MoviePass, or if you decided to stay with MoviePass, or if you hate me because I've been saying some bad things about MoviePass, the service, as the service is disintegrating. Stick around. I promise I will make it all worth your while. In the meantime, I will see you hopefully next week, next Monday. I hope we don't get bad news after Wednesday, the first payment deadline, and then over the weekend, the next payment deadline. Next MoviePass Monday will definitely be interesting, and we'll go over stuff then. So, again, this is Moon Pies. See you at the movies. Out.